Whatever path you walk down, someone has walked that path before. Places we go through and go to every day all have their own stories, no matter how hidden or how obvious it might be. Take for example this forest where we are. Now, when you look at woods, you don't always think industry, right? And you certainly don't think industrial accidents, because places that are on our doorstep, places we go to and love and take our dogs for a walk through every day, all hold their own history. But some of them also hold tales of tragedy. And some speculate that where there's tragedy, especially losses of life, especially lives which were cut short before their time, are meant to be where restless spirits still roam, looking for closure, looking to move on. I do love the idea of the paranormal, but you could consider me a bit of a skeptic. I'm willing to be convinced, but I'm yet to be convinced. There is not a piece of evidence that I could point to and say that is irrefutable proof of the supernatural. But I am willing for that to change. I'll be joined by a paranormal investigation team and a medium here later on to see what evidence of the afterlife they can find. But first, join me as we venture into the history of where we are now. We are here in Barnsley in South Yorkshire. Barnsley is a thriving town today with a population of around 96,000 people. Its origins stretch before the Norman invasion of 1066, although it was, of course, much smaller than it is today. It was recorded in the Domesday Book of 1086 as Barnsley, which is believed to mean barn in the field. Its population was a mere 200 or so people, with, of course, agriculture being the main economy of the area. Some of the most important and notable historic places here include the Town Hall, which was opened by the Prince of Wales on the 14th of December 1933. There's also one of the most interesting war memorials in Barnsley in the town centre. Unveiled on the 11th of October 1925 to commemorate the approximate 4,000 men from Barnsley who died in the First World War, it is the only war memorial in Barnsley with no names on it. Barnsley grew as a town in the 12th century, which was bolstered by the building of Monk Bretton Priory. This helped bring trade, welfare, and further agriculture to the people of Barnsley. For a few centuries, Barnsley was mostly a market town, following being granted a royal charter in 1249. For those of us who know Barnsley, however, and like a lot of areas in the north, it's Barnsley's industrial heritage that has cemented its place on the map and in Britain's story. This unassuming looking field in Hoyland in Barnsley would have once been the site of a mighty ironworks with roaring smoke from the blazing furnaces filling the sky. This would have been the site of the Milton Ironworks and helped build the nation. And other nations too, as a bridge for Mauritius was once built here as well. It used locally mined ironstone from nearby Tankersley. It not only provided jobs for locals, but entertainment for them as well, as they would have constructed bridges in the open and transported them in front of crowds of people. Once it stopped making iron in 1883, it then turned to brass making and later, surprisingly, became a shooting range. Aside from brass and iron, glass and linen were also crucial parts of Barnsley's story. Glassmaking in Barnsley dates back about 500 years ago, although really took off with the establishment of the Gorber Hall Glassworks in the 1730s. Barnsley was known as the principal seat of the English linen industry in the late 1800s. This was thanks to its connections to the waterworks that provided the flaxseed, and because linen could be made in the home. Elsecar had its own ironworks as well, including other industries such as the tar distillery and flour milling. It was of course best known for its coal mines. This begun with Lowood Colliery in 1723 and culminated with Elsecar Main Colliery in 1983. There is one of the most important pieces of industrial architecture in all of England here. This is the Newcomen type beam engine. It was installed in 1795 and was used to extract water from the pits to allow for deeper mining. It is the only one in the entire world still in its original location. It is a marvel of technology and a stark and vivid reminder of Barnsley's industrial heritage.
It's also alluding to the industry that truly put Barnsley on the map: coal mining. We're here at Rabbit Ings Country Park, which used to be the site of Mottram Colliery and Royston Drift Mine, which shut in 1989 after being open for only 14 years.
You may be surprised to learn that coal was being utilised as long ago as 3000 BC. Coal has been dug up in the Yorkshire area as long ago as the 1300s. But why specifically the Yorkshire area? Well, the answer's simple. Coal was naturally abundant here, and the Barnsley bed was one of the best coal seams in Britain. Coal was used in every walk of life, from the Romans using it for underfloor heating to the Victorians using it to fuel the furnaces in their factories. At its peak in 1913, it is estimated the UK was producing a staggering 287 million tonnes of coal from a whopping 1,426 mines, employing around 500,000 people. It's unbelievable just how big and how important the coal industry was to Britain. As anyone who knows anything about the industry will tell you, however, coal mining had its own demons in the form of how dangerous a job it was to work. It is estimated that from the years 1700 to 2000, approximately 167,000 people lost their lives as a result from working in the industry. Because a disaster could only be formally declared a disaster if 5 or more died in one incident, it is probable that figure is actually much higher, and a lot has been forgotten about those who lost their lives.
Standing in Nabs Wood in Barnsley is a memorial to a dreadful event that broke the hearts of everyone in the community and the country. This was the Huskar mining disaster of 1838, which occurred at the Huskar Day Hole at Silston Colliery. Heavy rainfall led to a river bursting its banks, flooding a pit and drowning 26 children. Some as young as 7 years old died. This horrific accident led to the 1842 Mines Act, which barred any women, girls, or any boys under the age of 10 from working in the pits. Barnsley also has the unfortunate accolade of being the site of the deadliest mining disaster in English history. Once called the Oaks Colliery, this is the headgear of Barnsley Main Colliery. On the 12th of December 1866, at 1:15 PM, a series of explosions occurred that continued into the following day, killing and trapping both mine workers and rescue party members alike. In total, approximately 380 men and boys lost their lives in that one accident. Both of these sites are preserved and cared for today, and the stories and tragedies that unfolded here can be shared with future generations to come. Not all evidence of Barnsley's mining heritage, however, is exactly visible, and you'd be forgiven if you missed some, including where we are today, Mottram Woods.
You wouldn't believe it for all the greenery, but where we are right now was once the site of a coal mine. This used to be the location of Mottram Wood Colliery, one of many collieries in the nearby area. In fact, Barnsley, Maine is just a stone's throw that way. Following the nationalisation of coal in 1947, there were around 44 collieries in the South Yorkshire coalfield. The word Mottram is thought to be derived from Old English and meant meeting place at the trees. This open space here is all that is left of Mottram Wood Colliery. That and some brick building remains that are in the wooded area over there. This open space would have actually been the entrance to the coal mine. Mottram Wood Colliery was sunk in 1908 and until 1921 was owned by the Mottram Wood Colliery Company Limited. Then, after 1929, it was owned by Barnsley Syndicate Limited until the colliery was closed and abandoned in September 1945. It was closed and abandoned owing to it no longer being needed and the seam being exhausted. Despite having 4 pits in its life, at its peak it only employed 120 people, 100 below and 20 on the surface.
We're here to investigate these woods to see whether those tragedies left any victims and if there's any restless spirits here in a place you might not associate with the afterlife or the paranormal.
Firstly, thanks for joining us. Welcome to today's location. Not going to give you any inclination of any of the history here or what it used to be. But first things first, I'd just like to hear your story. So if you'd like to introduce each of your individual names for us, name your team, and then a bit about your team, how long you've been doing it, what got you into it, etc., if that's all right.
Yep, so I'm Carly. I'm part of our W4 Paranormal, which are actually 3 tonight. One member's missing. But we've got Holly and we've got Gemma. And we've been ghost hunting for probably collectively, I'd say about 20 years, would you say?
Crikey. What got you into it?
Just interested in the paranormal. Is there anything after death?
When you say investigate then, what equipment have you brought today and what's its uses then?
So we've got a couple of handhelds. We've not brought anything electrical. Because obviously there's no electric out here. So we've brought a couple of K2s, which will measure electromagnetic field. We've got the SLS, so that may pick up like stick figures if there's anything there. We've got the spirit box as well, which is a radio that'll scan multiple channels. That's it.
Awesome. So before we really crack on then, I just need to clarify 2 things then. Number 1, is there anything that is striking you now? Is there any point that makes you think, this is a bit weird, or that looks like somewhere we'd like to go? Is there anything that's standing out to you?
Not right this minute. It's not a normal investigation, to be fair. We're normally indoors. So, yeah.
And to that end then, just need to clarify, you've never been to this location before and you've no idea about the history of this area, do you?
Not a clue.
That's all we need to know. So, I think I speak for everyone. I say I'm excited to get going. Shall we crack on? Yes. For the first part of our investigation then, follow me. So there's 3 areas of where we are today that I want us to investigate for different reasons. They all have certain significance to what the site used to be used for. So this is the first one. Now, if you just want to run through why this area might be a little bit difficult for some of the equipment, if that's all right?
Yeah, so we've got 2 K2s. We've got this one, and then this one's an analogue version of this one. But as you can see, it's already going off. But that's because of the power line, so it's actually picking up, as is that.
Yeah.
So we'd not be able to use these.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get false results.
But what would they actually show, those ones then?
These ones are quite good if you're in a controlled environment, because we can sometimes get yes and no answers through these. So we can ask spirit to come towards the green light, and then as it goes off, we can then start communicating.
Excellent. So given that we are one like the K2 down, what is the starting piece of equipment? How should we start this
So
off?
now we've got the Hexcom and the Ovilus, which are both dictionaries, and they're like word banks. And the theory is that spirit can manipulate them and bring out specific words.
So how do we start then? Do we just let the spirits talk, or do we have
We've
to
already got some by the looks of it.
So what have we got so far?
We've already, from the Hexcom by the looks of it, is coming out with solid, serve, peace, reach, hit, thin and Lucas.
And Lucas, so a name. Do you often get names when it comes to the Hexcom?
Sometimes, not often. We've got friend as well now.
Friend?
So.
Now, while we're here then, is there anything about this that you I'll just ask you, what do you think this site might have been used for then?
Absolutely no idea as yet.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear.
Apple farm, maybe?
Apple farm. Yeah, the Ovilus has come up with apple. And Greta.
And Rita, interesting.
Greta.
Greta. Oh, okay. And so, are there any questions we can ask that might provoke a response?
Yeah, we can certainly ask if there's anybody here or if anybody would like to communicate with us. That's not.
I'd love to ask, but I'd like to see the experts do it first. So if you're all right to maybe ask a couple of questions to try and maybe invoke a response.
So if there's any spirits who would like to communicate with us, please bring yourself forward. Got 2 dictionaries here. Try and manipulate them.
Arrived. Ooh.
So that's what we're looking for, really. Something where it's what we've asked for, or any correlation, and it's quite good if you got similar words coming through on both devices. Yeah, so we've got the spirit box, and this scans through radio channels, and what we can do is we can put Holly with the earphones on, we can ask questions, and if she gets any answers, so she can't hear what we're saying or what we're asking, and then if she comes out with anything, it could be a little bit more evident.
Let's give it a go, shall we? A couple of minutes on that?
So it'll scan radio channels quite quick. It's quite interesting to get any swearing coming through on this.
Oh, really?
Because you're not allowed to swear on radio.
Oh, so that indicates that it's definitely not here. Here. Ooh. Now, are some of these words quite common that we're hearing right now? Is here a common word to get?
Not all the time. We do sometimes just get random words coming through.
Watching.
Yeah, these are all quite significant. We don't normally get it this quick, to be honest.
That's interesting. So we've had here, hello, and watching. And arrived. Did another word come through on the Hexcom there?
Continued.
Interesting. I know what you mean. So the here, hello, and arrived. Here, hello, arrived.
Engine with really strong bar on there as well.
Engine. Okay, engine. Now I don't want to give you any away. Who's that? Engine's an interesting one. I'll say engine's an interesting one. That stood out to me more than the others so far.
Yeah.
Engine.
So if there's any spirits here, please communicate.
Fire. So we've definitely had fire on the Hexcom. Do we have a Fred here? If there is a spirit called Fred, do we have a John? Is there anyone called John? Maybe. Oh gosh, maybe. Do we have a Alexander? Is there an Alexander here? There is an Alexander here, please let me know. Show us that you're here some way. Finally, do we have a Harold here? Was anyone called Harold? Is there a spirit here who was called Harold when you were alive here? Potential spirits?
Why is me?
What did she say, sorry?
Why is me?
Why is me? Interesting. So we'll park that question then. Why is me is not actually like a coherent sentence. Is that something that happens quite a lot?
We normally get one word through. So when you get a why is me, that's followed like a fair few radio channels.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So we don't normally get sentences or short sentences through.
That is interesting.
The theory behind it is that they use the energy.
They use the energies. We've had don't worry, hello, and thank you, all in quick succession there. Are these fire again? Are these common words then that are coming through, or can it just vary? Can it be vary?
What you're looking for is the pattern in things.
Yes.
So is it mirroring
Is it
on
mirroring?
the two different? Yeah.
Norman, and I believe Holly just said Bernard or Burn came through there. That ties in with the theme of fire, doesn't it? Right, I'm happy to call it a day at this part, if that's all right. We move on to the next part, which is further on down there. Okay, so I think if we start making our way down, if that's all right, yeah. So let's move on.
Lead the way.
Thank you. Each of these spaces then has been chosen for a reason, and this next one is relevant not only to the history, but particularly to the macabre history as well that happened here. So, as we've come over, with the equipment still running, has other things come up on the hexcom, for example?
Yeah, it looks like we've got some, we've got doubt, possibly roll and million, and they've come up on the hexcom, and then on the ovulus we've got observe, light, fiddle, bike, lick and spring.
Interesting. Did any of those words mean anything to you? Like, that they have words of perhaps give you a hint about what the site might be? I'm not giving you
No, not at the minute, no.
And so now we're going to use these pieces. What are these again?
Yeah, so these are the K2s and this is the analogue version, but we are further away from the cables now, so we should.
Feel free to come forward, come to the green light. We just want to say hello. We mean you no harm.
We are with company as well on ovulus.
With company, and then just as the light went up to yellow.
With company went up to yellow.
Yeah, which is middle.
Does yellow indicate quite a strong presence? Or
That's not as bad as, yeah.
Could Harold come to the green light? I'm not sure if that was picked up, but that went straight to red.
Oh, right.
Don't know if
I missed that one because I think we'd got something on the hex.
What did they come up on the hex?
Initial.
Initial. Oh, what could initial potentially mean?
Start of things.
The start of things? If there's a Harold here, Harold, if you are here, Harold, could you come forward? Come maybe to the green light? Flashing on the green. It's flashing on that second green, isn't it?
Oh.
What happened now? It's just
it flashed again.
What colour did it go?
It went up to the green, so as you can see, it's
Second
just
green.
flashing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really weird because sometimes we do get a lot of the devil coming through, don't we?
Yeah.
Which we've not had at all.
I imagine, dare I say, devil is not something that really bothers you.
No, sometimes we just think they're trying to scare us. So.
Yeah.
We get a lot of run, don't we, as well?
Run
We get
and-
run. Yeah, we do run.
Yeah.
We have one more location on site today to film at. So before we go to that third and final place, is there anything we want to say that might be of interest, a way to tell the spirits we're moving on to the next part?
Yeah, we can always invite them to come with us, and as we generally close down an investigation, we'd like to thank them as well.
Yeah. So to that end, I think I'm happy for us to move on to the third and final part of this investigation, which is down through the forest just behind me. So if we're ready, we'll just crack on, if that's all right, yeah? Right, let's get going, shall we? So as we came over here then, certain things have been said. What are some of the things that have come up on the hexcom since on the walk over?
On the hexcom we had unholy come up, and what was the other one we had on the obviously foe came up, and they came up quite close together.
Foe is in F-O-E, like an enemy. What does that mean to you then as investigators? What can you infer from that?
Potentially something could be a bit more sinister in this location, or something could be trying to scare us. So if there's any spirits here, specifically any female spirits here that want to talk to us, hello, if you want to come hungry, if you want to come oh, it's starting off quick. If you want to step closer to the green light, we'll be able to see if you're here, and we've got flashing. Thank you for that. If you come towards the green light, we can answer with a yes, and then if you step back from it, we can get a no. So if you want to step forward, we'll know you're here. Is there a grandmother here?
Above
Above?
you,
Is there an Amanda here?
Get away.
Get away.
Get away. Again, 2 words together are quite unusual. So it's normally just one. Because by rights, if you've got one, it should skip to the next channel. Which would get away and go with the foul and the enemy. So we had quite a strong start. Fired.
Fired.
So we've got fire a couple of times and now we've got fired.
If there is a Fred here, can you come towards this green light, please? It won't hurt you. We just want to talk. We just want to know you're here.
Let me try.
Let me try.
A cuddle.
Quite cute, that is. Are you lonely, Fred?
So we're going to go now. Thank you so much for any interaction you've given us. Thank you.
So thank you so much. So if you'd just like to tell us your full name and how you describe yourself, what you do.
Sure, my name is Andrew Beasley. I'm a clairvoyant psychic medium, so the skill of being able to communicate with people that have passed over.
And so to confirm then, you've not done any research on this area and you've never been here before?
Absolutely not, never been here.
And you had no idea you were coming here to this specific location?
No.
And so you, on the way here, told me a few things.
Yes.
I'd love for you to reiterate
Yeah.
what you were seeing and feeling on the way here and what you're seeing and feeling now. So when we were walking up, what were you seeing and feeling?
So when I came across the road directly behind us, there's a small roundabout, and I joined the footpath, and I was explaining to you that the feeling when you're a medium is when spirit want you to help. They draw you in like a magnet, much like a fly flying towards the blue light in a kitchen. You know, you just can't help yourself. And I think we both giggled because we actually had a Y junction, and I instantly took the path that we were following, and you giggled and went, that is actually where we're going, Andy, that's where we're headed.
That's what happened, yeah.
And the minute I walked out into this environment, it's just wow. Instantly in that sort of area, sort of in this particular part as well, that I was just drawn to going underground. I just wanted to get onto there, in there. But actually, as I've been studying and looking, I've been sort of aware that there's an opening in the wood line, and I keep seeing a gentleman that has got like rolled up sleeves is the best way of describing him, and he looks like he's just completed a shift, and I can only best describe it as down the mine or in the pit.
Before we go, you mentioned as well something about water and the woman over there.
Yes.
Could you reiterate what you
It felt
said
like
there?
there was a lady that would be known as like the White Witch that would be involved in sort of macabre activities, but it goes back. I'm sort of drawn to this sort of, I'm going all tingly and weird here.
When you say tingly, do you feel it in your skin, in your solar? What's the solar plexus? So I would like you to guide us to a location outside first then. So where you feel drawn to out here, I would like you to guide us to there, if that's all right.
That's absolutely fine, yeah.
So if we do, let's start walking. Which
Yeah.
way you guide us to it.
So instantly as I'm sort of aware, my head's starting to pound a little bit right now.
A little bit.
So the energy and the energy of this area is it's getting a little bit more intense as I'm walking forward. It's all here.
All over there.
Yeah.
And so we're now in the middle of the high grassy area. So what has made you choose this place then?
I'm riddled, if I'm perfectly honest with you, Josh, for the first time in a long time, with a lot of confusion.
Oh.
And I think there's a mixture of depression, anxieties, and I just feel that possibly there's something traumatic's gone on, in particular in this area. And all of a sudden my body and everything, I just feel so, not Andy B, I'm detached, and I keep seeing visions of a lift shaft or something falling from height.
It's in this location.
Yeah, it's just here where I'm stood, it's just bizarre. And I'm not, if you want to feel the heart, how it's racing,
Oh crikey, yeah, no.
it's boom, 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 boom. And it's only ever since I've stood in this position.
When you say a lift shaft, what do you see a shift. Do you see a shaft, or is there more of a feeling?
I'm hearing it as you talk about that. I hear like water droplets. I'm seeing at the corner of my eye now, I see like the old-fashioned sleepers that would have been offered to support metalworking, RSJ type framework, and I just get 150.
150?
Whatever that's depth, how deep it goes, where it starts, where it finishes. Nobody, sounds like a song again, but it is all those sorts of feelings, and it is, whether this was a reserved shaft, whether this was something that just gave air or oxygen to an area, or what it were used as a regular shaft. I'm not aware of anything else other than that. I don't see any other workings. You know, normally when I've been to previous lift shafts, you start in this area because that's where it all happened. The framework went up, great big wheel, etc., etc. Then the house. There's none of that here. There's none of that visionary. And normally when I was stood back there, I would have picked up on the similar sort of things. But again, unfortunately, nothing's I'm aware of. So I would just leave it at that. No major trauma from my point of view other than that scenario or that situation. So whatever's been found before or after, I feel reassured that there's lots of settled feelings, and as I'm pulling the energy away, you can probably see Andy's back.
And yeah, you feel less detached now. And what could that indicate if your hands start going a different colour?
It's all about the energy that I'm absorbing with this gentleman, and he would have been, I don't know, suffering with major anxieties, alcohol, drink. It makes me feel as if, I'm honest with you, that there was some sort of sexual assault, sexual orientation. I keep hearing Linda.
And is there any indication of, in terms of Linda or sexual assault, whether he was the perpetrator or and me? Yeah, and I could take that as perhaps that he was guilty of doing that, and that could lead to it. But I don't want to put words in any spirit or in your mouth. So
no, that's sort of it. Other than that, now my head is back to normal, with a little bit of a. But it's great for you to actually physically experience the feelings that I'm experiencing, because the worrying thing as a medium, it can be extremely lonely, and also you can be battling with your own little demons in the fact, am I doing okay? Is this fine? Am I doing it for your benefit? What, where, how and why? And it's the old Socratic questions of life. We're filling our heads with the what, where, why and how and all the other bits that come with it, and I do that constantly.
Would it be helpful then if we were to conclude your investigation, conclude your journey here? I don't want to put the wrong terminology out there, but would it be helpful to conclude our walk together in that area? And
I'll probably get more when I'm in that area or absorb. And maybe I have to go left or I may need to go right, but the initial opening is, out of all this ground, it's that area in particular I'm drawn to next.
So what we'll do then is, if you guide me, we'll walk together, and where you feel like you want to stop, we'll stop and we'll finish there, okay? I'd like you to take the way then, please.
Yeah, of course. And as soon as you walk out of that area, can you just, I don't know if you feel it.
I can't feel it, but
I'll just feel like I'm on a springboard.
Springboard, yeah. What is it about this area that particularly drew it to you? What is it about this area that you feel particularly drawn to?
If you remember, Josh, when we were talking earlier, I said to you that I felt like a magnet. And I think what I've described already in the middle of that grassed area, that I think Spirit actually drew me to this area. And as I described, the gentleman that was stood at the side of the trees in that opening with the rolled up sleeve, with the waistcoat, looking like he'd just done a shift in the pit or the mining environment. But then as I looked at him and I've come, I actually now feel so relaxed. I've actually gone in my own sort of freestyle, and I've actually sat on what I believe to be foundation stones of possibly either a pump house or something that would have been associated to this gentleman. It keeps pointing to me, down there, down there, down there, but there's definitely activity down there. I don't know if there's a water source down that way, Josh, or a stream or a river that's been commercialised. I think the end result and what I'm feeling right now, Josh, if I'm perfectly honest, is closure. Is verbally sorry is the one thing that he came in with. I'm sure did he mention a lady called Linda?
Linda did come up
Yeah, so he's mentioning Linda again. I'm also hearing the name Williams. So Linda Williams would have been the lady that unfortunately would have experienced this. I'm going to best describe it as an horrendous assault. And I think, he knows that. He can't deny, I think drink is only an excuse. It's not justifiable. It's a situation that you should be able to take control of your own actions. For me personally, I think he's now had time to think, many years, so you can understand that if he's walked this corridor since the incident, how many more years is he going to stay around until he takes ownership and responsibility? But unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he's met Andy. And Andy's been able to pass him over and take him over to the other side.
So a big thank you all to coming. Have we all enjoyed it? Yeah, glad to hear you have. I have personally enjoyed it. It's been some very interesting moments for me. So we'll start off then with W4 Paranormal. So what have been some of the highlights of today's investigation? Things that have stood out to you as the most interesting?
I think for us, the most interesting part was over there where we got mainly the male type of words coming through versus in the woods where it was mainly female.
Were there any moments where you thought, I can definitely sense a presence, or there was definitely a moment where you think, actually, this is a strong, like I say, it's a strong activity?
I know, Gemma, you felt like you were being watched in there, and I think with Holly going into the sensory deprivation thing and it coming through more strongly in certain areas was quite interesting for us.
As someone who, of course, is not an investigator but a historian, one of the highlights for me from yours definitely was some of the words that stood out that were quite interesting, especially as they were quite loud or quite repetitive and etc. And we're saying it had a lot to say over here compared to in other areas. So Andy, were there any moments that stood out to you as part of the investigation? Was there anything that really has stuck with you?
Yeah, just like the compass, when you get pulled to somewhere. And I think very similar. It's nice to hear somebody else who has had that experience beforehand. That I got drawn here as well, and about sort of male orientated, and then instantly we're drawn into that corner from this position. So yeah, it's fantastic, and it's rewarding and nice. And that we're all thinking the same things. Thank God we did something, and it feels about right, doesn't it? Because you do when you do these investigations done right, that you've got no prior knowledge beforehand, and you do literally fly by the seat of your pants, and it's a lot of gut instincts. So they're going back to these sort of psychic compass, getting drawn to areas and feeling those areas, and then picking up. And with I can't wait to see the evidence of what there's picked up, and hopefully the names that I've sort of identified into as well. So
yeah, and it's interesting. We both picked up different names. If you don't mind me saying, you picked up Dennis.
Yes.
Linda. You picked up Anne. Was one that sticks with me?
Amanda, Norman.
Anne, Amanda, and
Bet.
Norman.
Yeah.
Bet,
And Bet as well. Interesting. And
Very
so,
nice.
Before I reveal all, just want to confirm. Your two groups have not confirmed with each other, have you? Not confirmed, not said anything?
No.
So about where we are today then. So it's interesting, I will say this, Andy, that you immediately said you want to go underground, because this would actually have been the site of a colliery. So this would have been the site of Mottram Wood Colliery, sunk in 1908, closed in September 1945. So where we are right now would have actually been the grass. It was interesting you picked up not only going underground with the idea of a shaft.
Yeah.
Right where we are would have been a shaft, and it's been filled in.
Really?
And specifically when you mentioned the area that is grassy and the bits that isn't grassy, that would have been the main bit, the entrance building. So the bits that I chose were the entrance to the building, the shaft, and also some of the back end of it where they'd have been above where they'd done the mining. And over there would have been some of the outbuildings, so a bit where the structure on the ground would have been for carts coming in and out, but mainly for timber, not necessarily for coal, but for timber. And it would have also been a pump house. So we did have a pump house evidence there. Some of the more macabre events that happened here then. So on the 24th of April, 1924, John Clark, aged 65, who was a night deputy, was found to have been killed in what believed to have been negligence on his behalf.
Wow.
By between the times of 3:30am and 6:15am, and he was found by his deputy, John Broadbridge. Now, it was believed to have been a mistake on his behalf, as it was recorded that he had lit an open flame, as in his lamp, when he shouldn't have, near fire damp. And for those of you who don't know what fire damp is, it is a collection of gases generally found in a pit, predominantly made up of methane and thus explosive.
Yeah.
What made that quite interesting, however, or mysterious should I say, is the fact that despite being attributed to his lamp, and despite being recorded as being a problem on his behalf, they found a match that may have come from, obviously, a box of matches, but that didn't belong to him near where his body was found. And so it went down as being him opening the lamp without him, where he shouldn't have done, but actually that was cast on it, and yet it never came to light. There was nothing ever pursuing it. On the 2nd of February in 1921, there was a 65-year-old man named Fred Hunt, and he complained to his fellow workers that actually he felt unwell, and then although there was no further comment or report on his death, he then just died immediately. He said he complained of feeling unwell, leant against the colliery tub, and then the newspaper article said he then immediately expired, which of course means he had then just died. Now that as well was immediate and was an accident. There was no further investigation needed, but the final one happened on the 10th of April 1943, so just over 2 years before the pit shut, and there was an explosion at 9:30 a.m. in which 3 gentlemen, Alexander Lloyd, aged 23, there was Harold Beecroft, aged 29, and George Holt, aged 25, and the official report didn't exactly specify whether it was accidental or negligence. And this, of course, to me, implies that it was the mine owners trying to shift responsibility. So this was actually the deadliest moment in this pit's history.
Yeah.
3 people died in one singular explosion, and as a result, their deaths went a little bit by the wayside. I guess in hindsight we can see that it was during the war, and thus perhaps they didn't have the resources, or perhaps they saw it in their eyes in the context of a dangerous industry anyway. A little bit therefore about some of what else we may have found that might be quite interesting. So we came across some ladies' names. Now ladies probably weren't actually anything to do mainly with this area, but the men would have been. So that to me implies that men being here and women being there, perhaps there were women workers out on the outside on the outbuildings, but there were definitely no women in this area, which to me struck me as a bit indicative when we weren't getting any women's names when they were coming up here. And it's interesting as well, something you said at the beginning, Andy, when we first walked in, the idea of not only running water near here, but a woman, and if I'm right in saying, did you sense at some point the idea of a child as well, or a young person?
Yeah.
And so I couldn't find any indication of anything regarding, say, ritualistic or witchcraft or spiritual in that way.
Yeah.
But Old Mill Road gets its name from the Old Mill, and Old Mill Road runs over behind us that way. There's near the roundabout. Old Mill Road, of course, indicates therefore the location. It gives its clue to where the mill was.
Yeah.
And in the stream that used to run near that, feeding it, a lady did actually, owing to what was a medical condition she was experiencing severe pain in her breasts. It did seem to drive her over the edge, and one morning her husband, who awoke at 5 to go to work, then actually found his wife was not there. She'd gone out in the middle of the night without him knowing, and they found her and her child, who she'd taken and strapped to her, actually dead as she'd drowned herself in that body of water near there.
Wow.
And it did run just behind these trees where we're indicating.
I think following that up, I think what we've done tonight is also laid somebody to rest. And I think that was probably part 2 then.
Part 2, yeah. And I think that's, from my historical investigation, things that I found that are quite macabre. And so as someone who is of course not a investigator, the things that stood out to me about this site is that there were certain deaths and certain accidents, etc., where perhaps the people involved never got true closure. there was never an investigation followed up for to see whether it was neglect on the mine owners' behalf for Alexander, George and Harold. And it was the lady over there as well, so close by, that they didn't know why she did. The only thing they could put it down to was the fact that she was in considerable pain, and it seemed to have driven her to a fate that she saw was the only way out. And thus, I want to leave this part with saying that I also feel a sense of closure here. I'm not, of course, inclined as you all are investigating it, but as a historian, I found that there's definitely a lot of macabre things that have happened here. And so I want to leave then with maybe a leaving comment from you, leading comment from you. So from W4 Paranormal, what is your final closing statement about this area now you know what some of the events that have happened?
It's quite interesting because we had dirt come up a couple of times, and then under and above, didn't we? Yeah. And at the time couldn't put it together, but now you're telling us about it, it starts to make sense. So that's quite good, quite interesting.
Didn't you say Cuddle came through?
Cuddle came through.
And it sounded like a mum, a dad and a child. I said it sounded like they were having a conversation.
Yeah, you said.
So that could possibly tie in with that.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Nice and emotional ending to that, isn't it, really? I think, if I'm perfectly honest, Josh, the feeling I get is there's a part 2 to this. And I think it does need closure, and again, hopefully we can do that for their point of view. And I know probably lots of people will watch this and think, but ultimately our journey is to help and support people that have passed over that are probably feeling a little bit trapped. And for that reason, that's why I did. And I think the people that we didn't pick up on is, as you described, most incidents took place underground.
Yeah.
Not on the shop floor. So if we went underground, I think the results would be totally different, and the names would be identified too. So the distribution of energy, in particular in those sort of explosive moments, would have been left down there. So for that reason, that's why we probably won't pick up on those particular names, but we're very much aware of many others that are around. And I think once this goes dark, as I described right at the beginning, this place becomes, lightens up and it becomes alive. And there's a lot to explore just yet.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much everyone for coming today. Hope you've all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And now I will leave the audience in a different time with what I think has gone down here and whether or not I think it's haunted. There have been a lot of interesting results from today's investigation. For example, W4 Paranormal, when they saw words that were coming up such as fire, that really spoke to the industrial tragedies that occurred here. One of the most standout moments for me was when Andy saw the colliery before even knowing anything about the history of the place. There is no way that he could have known that. He didn't do any prior research, and there is no physical evidence here of a mine at all. Am I convinced that this place was haunted though? Not really. There was never a moment when I thought, that is irrefutable proof of the afterlife. There was never a moment when I sensed a presence or a ghost. But that doesn't mean there aren't other places for us to investigate, and who knows, maybe if people came here, they'd find some spirits instead, and maybe they'd find some of their own evidence of the past and the passed away.